So a few days ago, I asked you guys to comment any Packers questions you have down below. So I want to answer and go through these questions and give my thoughts, my responses to everything you guys have to ask here from Ramen Noodles 96. Ramen noodles are very tasty. Haven't had them in a long time, but make me hungry there. Does Matt LaFleur need to relinquish play calling? Definitely not. Definitely not. The Packers consistently have one of the best offenses in the NFL, and are there moments where, you may want to see something different? Yes. But when you're, consistently, with Rodgers, the Packers were always up there close to the top, if not in the top 10, right around top 10, 12th around there. I think they were 8th last year in scoring, 7th this year in scoring. It's like the Packers are one of the best offenses consistently in the NFL, and a large part is due to Matt LaFleur and his play calling. So I think he's one of the better play callers in the NFL. So that's my thought. From God of Thunder 9379, who says, Sunday night's game, do you think it will be a shootout, or are we going to stick to our game plan? I think it could be a shootout. Aaron Rodgers has been playing really good football. The Packers offense has been a top 10 offense once again this season. And I broke down the entire game in my prediction and preview video, but I do think that, the Steelers defense has not been great this year. And they've been good at times, but they've been pretty inconsistent. They're like the 19th best scoring defense in the league. And so with the Packers, how good Jordan Love has played, I think the Packers will put up a lot of points, and I don't think that the Steelers will be able to match it. But Rodgers and Joe Flacco went back and forth in the last game for the Steelers, and I think there's a chance it happens here. But the Packers defense with their pass rush has been really good, and so I do feel like the Packers will come out on top here, and I think there will be a lot of points scored. Then we have from at Shabowski Line, who says, who would be a replacement for Nate Hobbs? I kept an eye on him, and just like the Bengals game, he was targeted and couldn't tackle. Yeah, I would say, I think Carrington Valentine should get some more snaps, and the Packers should see what if they maybe give some of Hobbs' snaps to Carrington Valentine, just because, Hobbs did struggle last week. I did hear in a Jeff Hafley press conference, it doesn't sound like they're going to move off Nate Hobbs that quickly. And sometimes guys who have some bad games, he's had a couple. But I do think they should at least try out Carrington, see if it's better, because Hobbs did struggle against Marvin Harrison last week. Then we have from Mike B6996, who says, I noticed Jair Alexander has played in only 2 of the Ravens' 6 games, and before his injury, Aaron Jones was only averaging 45 scrimmage yards a game. Goody looks like a genius. Yeah, Gutekunst, he has been willing to part with players that are, obviously fan favorites and guys who have been very impactful for this Packers team for a long time. He's willing to move on from them, I think, before a lot of people would like to see them go. And while I think it can create some frustration among players like Aaron Jones, business-wise, the Packers are basically having less risk by keeping older players as they age and decline and moving on from them before they start to sort of have those issues as guys age and get closer to 30, which happens, unfortunately, for everyone in the NFL at some point. You're just not the same player you once were. And so the Packers are willing to move off of guys before that happens. And so I think that's probably part of the reason, you see some guys go elsewhere. They may play well for a little while, but, Brian Gutekunst, I do believe he knows what he is doing. And then we have from Unruly Rant Lord, who says, can we continue to gamble on 4th down? Worked for us last night, and the Lions certainly make it count. I think it just sort of depends, because on the when you're going for it on 4th down, it's awesome when it works, but when it doesn't work, that's when, if the Packers are gone for it, or when the Packers went for it on 4th and 2, if they did not get that 4th and 2, and then, the Cardinals just win that game, you'd think, man, if only they had kicked a field goal, then the Packers could have, had a chance there to win it. And that's why in the moment, as I'm watching the game, I'm thinking to myself, I was wanting them to kick a field goal just because I was sort of nervous about the 4th and 2. Even though I thought they could get it, I was like, can we just kick a field goal and keep this close and give us another chance? But when it works, it feels awesome. When it doesn't work, it makes you rethink things. So it is sort of a tough spot, because you have to decide, how confident are you in your offense? And I think at the end of the day, I do believe Matt LaFleur is confident in Jordan Love, and Love has proven in the past few games that he can be really clutch in some big moments. And so I think a lot of it comes down to how confident are you in your quarterback, and I think the Packers are very confident in Jordan Love. So I would expect them to go for it on 4th down in these situations where it's a reasonable decision. Like, that was a reasonable decision to go for it on 4th and 2. It wasn't a crazy decision there. So I'm fine with it, even though in the moment, more of me out of fear was thinking, can we just take the field goal? But I'm glad they went for it because it ended up working out. Then we have from Day in the Life of a Wisconsin Sports, who says, do you think we need to trade for someone at any position? That's a good question. I'll probably dig into that more after this game as the trade deadline approaches. I believe it's November 4th. But looking at this Packers team, I would say right now, offensive line, I think the Packers are fine. Receiver, totally fine. Quarterback, fine. Running back, as long as Jacobs is healthy, fine. I like Emmanuel Wilson. Defensive line has been good still. I would say the only one is probably corner. That could be a potential area where you could trade for someone, because Nate Hobbs has struggled a bit. I do like Carrington Valentine, but it depends on who's out there. That position could make sense, if any. So I'll probably evaluate that more after this next game and probably make a whole video on that, but I appreciate your question there. Then we have from the Buck 1919, should the Packers bench Nate Hobbs and start Valentine over him? I sort of went through this in a few questions ago. I think they should sort of mix Valentine in a little bit and see, is he playing better than Hobbs? If it happens, if it continues, then I think they should play him over him if that were the case. Hobbs could bounce back, though. I mean, guys can go through rough stretches and then bounce back, so we'll keep an eye on that. Then we have here, most hated Minnesotan says, despite the parity in the NFL this year and the fact we literally won a game yesterday, why do online Packers fans continue to be so insufferable? With a laughy emoji. I mean, I feel like, there's always things that you can criticize, even in wins. And I think that it's good to look at every possible factor in wins. Even when you win a game, it's good to say, like, what could you do better? And typically there's always something you can do better. So, of course, there's always going to be, criticism, which I think is fine to ask questions. But I do think with the way the Packers are playing, they're one of the best teams in the NFL right now. So even though there are things they can improve on, overall, very positive, at least sort of how I see this team. And then here we have from, believe it's Kurila, how many more games of 27 points are we going to get? LOL. We could see more. The Packers offense is very good. They're probably going to get 27 plus points a lot more times. And I think, 27's a number where, 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals feels reasonable for how good this Packers offense is. And hopefully we can, start getting more in the 30s as time goes by. From Rock Beast 4291, what you think of Jordan Love? I personally don't think he'll be as good as Favre and Rodgers. I'm up in the air if he can win us a Super Bowl. Jordan Love is proving to be very good, and I even saw some stats with the Packers playing the Steelers this week, and they were comparing, I think it was Jordan Love's maybe first 39 starts to Rodgers' first 39 starts, and it's nearly identical. It's pretty crazy to see just what has happened so far, and the next big thing is Jordan Love going on a deep playoff run. Once Rodgers gets to Super Bowl, then you're like, oh my gosh, like this is the guy. And I think that if Love can get that, if he gets it this year, then, suddenly it's like, okay, maybe he can be, Favre and Rodgers if he gets to Super Bowl, especially this year, like Rodgers did in his third season. But obviously, Favre and Rodgers both all-time greats in the NFL. And Jordan Love so far, he's definitely trending in the right direction. He's getting even better this year, especially when it comes to accuracy. That was a big thing in my mind. Like, can he be a more accurate quarterback? This year he has been. Can he be more clutch in big situations? This year, I'd say for the most part he has been. There's been a few moments here or there where he struggled, but he proved it against the Cardinals. He's done it a few other games as well, and against the Cowboys, moving the ball on the field there. So I wouldn't say, he's there yet, but he's moving in the right direction. So, yeah. Mr. LZ14, Nate Hobbs has to go to the bench, but who will be his replacement? Sort of similar to some questions earlier, I would say Carrington Valentine, and maybe the Packers trade for someone. I don't know if they do that, but we'll keep an eye on that moving forward. I appreciate all you guys' questions, as always. Appreciate you guys watching the channel. Should be a fun game this Sunday. I'll be out with a video after, as always. So hopefully it's a winning video, a good reaction. That will be the best case scenario there. But I appreciate you guys watching, as always, and I'll see you guys next time.